to create a new technique using more than one person and another concept. So before we looked at this idea of having 3 people and breaking throws down in half between the release and the catch, and seeing all the different ways we could change that and find new techniques there. So another example of how we can build technique for juggling with more than one person is going to be, I'm going to use an idea or a concept that we've used before, this idea of shape. So we had shape when we were doing 5-ball lines. I took a shape and I took the most simple shape I could think of, which was a line. Now let's take another simple shape, and I'm going to have this idea of a circle. So again, I have some sort of idea or concept. Of course, I could have picked a different shape, like a square or a triangle, obviously. I'm going to use a circle and start to understand and figure out, okay, what can I use from this concept? How can I have a structure that I can build a concrete technique out of there, out of nothing? And how can I use this to structure my juggling? So, I'm going to have a circle, and I'm going to use 3 people. Again, we had 3 people for this idea of the juggler in the middle, the 2 helpers. Stick with that number, that's easy. So I have 3 jugglers. I'm going to have this idea of a circle. It means for now I'm going to say that I have 3 circles. So I have 3 circles. 1 circle for each juggler. And I'm going to arrange the circles in a certain way. So for now I'm going to say that I have the circles and they are all overlapping each other like this. Again, I think by now you understand the concept that at any point of this process I can make different choices. I could have said I was going to have 1 circle for 3 people or 2 circles for 3 people. It's the same thing, right? It's just a different detail, but the process is the same. I took a circle for each person just for fun, because I think it's going to be easy, and it's going to maybe give me some sort of result. And then I arranged them in a certain way. I just kind of overlapped every circle on top of each other. Okay, well, so what can this mean? This is pretty abstract. This is pretty conceptual at this point. This isn't exactly a juggling pattern for 3 people. But I can start to notice things about this shape I've made. So the circles cross each other here, right? I have an intersection. I have an intersection there. There's an intersection there. There's an intersection there. And at all these points where these circles intersect with each other, I can have a meeting point of people. If each circle of the 3 circles represents 1 person, and I overlap them, I can start to say that, for example, these could be walking paths on the floor. They could represent something else. For now, I'm going to say that each person is walking around in their own circle, and if I start to overlap those circles in this certain way, every time these circles cross each other, we could say that there's a meeting point between these 3 people. And for now then, since we're talking about juggling, we could say every time there's a meeting point, there could be a transfer of an object. And suddenly we do have some sort of pattern we can start to play with. And actually it might be pretty complex. You could also imagine this perhaps, for example, if this is some sort of map, and these are roads and you're driving on a car, you're driving in a car on this road, and then when you get to this intersection, you can choose to go lots of different directions. It could be the same thing for an object. If this object is being carried by the person who's walking, and there's a meeting point of one of the other 3 people, there could be an exchange in such a way that that object could go many different directions. So this is my basic concept, my basic theory. Again, the choices, pretty arbitrary. At the same time, they're really simple. I've just picked 3 people because we had 3 people from before, and I picked a circle because it's a really simple shape. And I assigned 1 circle to each person, etc. I arranged them in this way. And then just made a little plan and said, oh, maybe we could walk this path. And then when we start to walk, okay, then it means I start to assign meaning to my concept. And now I think we have a pretty good challenge that we can try physically, right? We have this idea that there's these meetings, and that if there were objects being carried, then those objects could be exchanged, and they could go in many different directions. So let's try to physically start to build a pattern out of this idea. So for now, we can have each one of these rings represent each of your circles. And just to say the same drawing I had on the board, we can say if we put these on the floor, that we have these overlapping paths like this. And if each of you are walking on one of these circles, then we have this sort of shape. So then it can be, how do we build this shape actually in reality with you guys walking around? For now, we can say that this ball can be the center point of the circle, just to have a reference for everybody. It's the center point above the 3 overlapping circles. And there's a really easy way actually to make this pattern, this walking pattern. So if you just stand one in front of each other, just facing front, so if you stand there, you stand behind him, and you stand behind him. And now if you just start walking in a small circle to your left around the ball and keep up, so there's no gap, keep up there, and you can walk a little slower. So fill in the gap here, be a bit closer, you can walk a little slower. Okay, so now we're just walking, everybody's circle is overlapping at this point, right? I mean, this is pretty obvious, but you can just say that these 3 circles are just overlapping like this, right? So if we start to separate those circles out and pull them apart, it means that the person who's behind, you're going to cut inside a little bit and go to the front. And then you're going to be in front. And you can keep walking. And now you're the one who's behind, so you can just cut a little bit in the middle and go to the front. And then this happens all the time. So the person who's behind always goes to the front as soon as you can. So you go to the front. Yeah, exactly. As soon as you can. Exactly. And yes. And yes. And now we have these 3 circles, and they're overlapping in the exact same way that I was drawing on the board. Or that we had the rings in the ground. And then I can just take away this, this center point, and you understand what kind of circles you're walking in. Cool. So now we have that circle, those 3 circles, and we have the walking path. And we can start to add in objects, again, where those circles overlap or cross. So if you stop for a second, and let's say, if you're in front, you can be second, and you can be the last one for now. And again, we can just imagine that you're walking right now and changing positions all the time. So this is going to be a little bit in slow motion for the moment, so you understand what's happening. For now, we can say like this. We're going to have a ball, and it's going to be in the back of the line, like this. And it's going to be really specific in the way that the circle we were walking now, you were walking to your left. So we could say that there's the hand on the inside of the circle, which is your left hand. Then you have the other hand, could be on the outside of the circle, which is your right hand. So for now, we're going to be really specific about the hands, and say that the object is going to start in the back of the line, and it's going to start on the inside hand, or the left hand. And as you cut to go to the front, I change it to my outside hand, my right hand, and I'm going to give it to the person who's in front, to their left hand. And then I'm in front. Like this. So we're going to start like that. And then eventually, after the person in the middle goes, the person behind comes to the front, and then you're the person in the middle, and then there's a person behind you who goes to the front, then you're behind. Then it's your turn again to go and give the ball to the front person. And it's really important that it goes from the inside hand to the outside hand, from the left hand to the right hand. And then when you come to the front, so you give, and then you give. It's the same thing we did before with the juggler in the middle, so you're giving and giving, like that. So try that as you walk, when you go to the front, you're going to give the ball to the person in the front. So every 2 changes, we have an exchange of the object. Right. There's 1 change, and then we have a change for nothing, and then we have another change of the object. Cool. Great. If you go back to the line again, just to do this, just to show without the walking. We have a lot of other places we can put an object. So instead of starting the object behind the line, we can also start the object in the front. And for now, we're going to say that, just as a starting point, the object will start on the inside hand. Just now in this example, when it starts to loop, it's going to come to the outside hand first. But it means that as the person who's behind, you're going to, as you cut into the front, you're going to take that object with your right hand, and then you're in front and you give it to your left hand. And then the person who's behind, actually let's just do that, and that's going to happen every single change now, instead of every other change. So if you just come really slow, just come to the front, you take in your right, you give to your left, and then you do the same thing there, exactly. And so if you want to walk that pattern, now again we have from the right hand to the left hand, from the outside hand to the inside hand. And every single time now there's a change, this object is passed down the line. Cool. And if you stop for a second and we look at one thing, if you actually make a line now, if you can stand here and you stand next to him over here, and you stand over here. So what was happening in this case was you were taking the ball in the right hand and then you were giving it to the left hand, yeah? And the change happened every single time. It means that if we look at that exchange of objects without walking in a circle and we're just going in a line, it means that if you do from your right hand to your left hand, from your right hand to your left hand, from your right hand to your left hand, what we have is a ball that's being exchanged and it's going in this direction forever. Because we have a line, and now the line is ending because it's a straight line. But when we curve that line and turn it into a circle, then the circle, of course, never stops. And so we have this exchange down the line from right to left, forever. It goes forever in that direction. And then on the other hand, we did the other pattern before, where the object started behind, in the last person on the line, and then that was going from left to right to left to right. So in that way, we had every other change, but we have a ball going, because it's a circle, we have a ball going in that direction forever. So we can also start to combine these ideas. But it's kind of funny to notice that we have this idea of infinity, of these two balls going forever in opposite directions, but we have a circle at the same time. So I'll get another ball and we can look at that. So let's look at this image of the two balls going in opposite directions forever, away from each other. In this way, we're going to start again with a ball in the front, like we had before. We have a ball behind, like we had before. But now, what's going to happen is, we're going to involve the person in the middle. So, when the person behind is going to start to go to the front, you take that ball from the inside hand, and as you walk, you're going to give it to your other hand, the outside hand, and then you're going to give it to the person who is in the middle. You give, and then you take, and then you come to the front. And as you come to the front, you exchange it over. And the person behind gives to the own hand, gives to the person in the middle, and then takes. So you always give and then take. And if you want to try to start to walk this slowly, it's good. You can keep walking. Yeah, give, take, give, take, give, take, give, take, give, and take. You can walk a little bit faster. One, two, three, four. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And you can do those on steps if you want. It's good. Okay, cool. Great, thanks. You can stop for a second. And we're going to try with another object. Okay, let's try this same pattern. We're going to add another object. We'll add a ring. So before we had a ball in the back, and we had a ball in the front, and now we're going to add a ring to the person who's in the front. And again, it's just this idea of having these three, overlapping circles. Whenever there's a meeting point, we can have an exchange of objects. So if we go slow motion again, it means the person who's coming to the front, you're going to give to yourself and give to the person in the middle. That's 1. You're going to take the ball in that hand, give it to the other hand. That's 2. And now the person who's in the middle has the ring on the neck. But the starting position was with the ring on the front person. So it means the person in the middle takes the ring off and puts the ring on the person who's in the front. It means now we're back to the beginning. If you go slow again, we have 1 ball, 2 ball, and then 3 is the ring. And back to the beginning again. So if you want to try to walk that, and really try to keep it in order, it has to be ball, ball, ring, ball, ball, ring. So don't go ball, ball, and then do another ball before the ring, which is easy to do. You have to go really fast and keep count. Ball, ball, ring, ball, ball, ring. 1, 2, 3. But try to walk that and see how it goes. So 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And keep your circle tight and small. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Cool. So I think now you can start to see how these intersections can happen and how we can exchange objects. So let's add some more juggling in with more objects. So let's try to add 5 balls into the pattern now. And this way we're going to have the person in the back has a ball in each hand. The person in the middle actually gets 1 ball in the outside hand. And the person in front has 2 balls, 1 in each hand. It means that as a starting pattern, we just have the inside hand of the middle person, the left hand is empty. And if we go in slow motion again, or just without walking, just 1 change from behind. As you come from behind, you're just going to do it like you did before. You give, and then you take, and then we're back to the beginning and just say that the inside hand of the middle person is empty again. You can go ahead and walk that. I think it's pretty easy. You just give and take. Give, take, give, take. So now we have 5 objects rotating through. We have 6 hands, 1 empty space, so the balls are rotating through that empty space. And because that empty space is in a circle, it just keeps going on forever in the same direction, down the line. So, give, take, give, take, give, take. Great. But so far, all we've been doing is handing objects to each other. Let's try to add in some different techniques like a throw. So we're a little bit more advanced. Not too much, but just a simple throw. Let's try to add that in, and we'll add in some more objects as well. Okay, so we're going to add in some throws with the pattern, and then it means we get to add in some extra balls as well. So for now, everybody's going to have 1 ball in each hand as a starting point. But then, so we have 6 balls, 1 for each hand, and we have an extra ball. And that'll be one of the balls that we start with the throws. So it means that the extra ball is going to start in the outside hand or the right hand. And every juggler is going to do 2 throws only. You're just going to throw right and then left. So just those 2 throws. And that left ball comes up here, so the person behind is coming up to get it. And then when they get the ball, they just go right, left, and it's the next one, right, left, etc. like that. And then we have the circle going. So let's try that out. So 2 throws each. Right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Cool, so here as well we can start to say, just technically, that when you do these throws, again, you have the first throw, the second throw could be on the exterior of that first ball, or on the outside, or a reverse cascade, or however you want to talk about these kinds of throws. So again, if that first ball is coming down, of course you could do an interior throw that has to come out. For now, maybe it's a little bit easier. You keep it exterior, or a column, or whatever language you want to use. But you're just throwing on the outside of that first ball. And, like you did when you started off, it was great. There's nothing telling us how high we have to throw the ball. So if you need more time, depending on how fast you're walking, if you need to come to the front and you can't make it in time, you can just throw the ball higher, and you'll have a lot more time to come to the front. So try one more time and start to see exactly how high you want to throw, for what speed you're walking. Obviously, the lower you throw, then the faster you have to walk. And as well here, you have the self throws to play around with. I think as jugglers, we naturally have those self throws, probably a little bit lower, and the pass is a little bit higher. But there's no right or wrong at this point. We're just looking at the pattern of how we can start to exchange these objects. Cool. So for now, what we're doing is we have the extra ball was at the front of the line, and we're doing all the exchanges as you come from behind. But if you remember the first exchange we did on this pattern when we were walking, when we just had 1 ball, we started that ball in the back of the line. So now we can actually add in an extra ball in the back of the line. It means we're going to have a pass going instead of from right to left, from left to right, so it's going the other direction. And that ball is going to get passed to the middle person, and then you're going to catch the pass from the front person. So we're going to add 1 more ball into the pattern, it means we'll have 8 total. I'll get another ball. So let's add in the final extra ball for now. We'll keep the extra ball here in the front like we had before. So that's 7 balls. We had 6 balls, 1 in each hand, and that's the 7th ball, extra 1 in the front. Let's add a new extra 1 in the back. So this will be the 8th ball. And the way this is going to happen is the same thing as before. when the person comes from behind with the extra ball, they're going to give to the person in the middle and then take from the person in the front. And that way we already have a throw or a pass from the person in the front going from right to left as a pass. But now we have the extra ball in the back. And the extra ball in the back is going to go from left to right, so it's going to go opposite direction of the ball in the front, like we had before when we were just handing them off. But here again, it's just going to be 2 throws, a little exchange on the catch, and then another exchange on the pass. And the timing of this goes that we have 2 throws in the back and 2 throws in the front, but they're not completely synchronous. They're not both 1, 2, but they're going to be 1 beat off of each other. So they're 2 beats long, but we're just going to shift it over by 1 beat, so there's 1 overlapping beat. It means that as a starting point, maybe an easy way to do it, is that the person in the front is going to throw 1, 2, and as the person in the back is coming to the front, instead of starting with that first ball in the other hand with a throw kind of for nothing, we're going to start with that ball already here in the right hand as the pass. So we're going to skip the first self-throw of the person from behind. And you can organize this in any other way you want. Of course, he could have started and said 1 for nothing. You say, and then you could have some sort of starting point like this. But anyway, for now we're just going to count it like this. You're going to start counting. You're going to count 1, 2, and he's going to basically count 2, skipping his 1. And he's going to throw ball number 2 on your, his first throw now when he starts, which will be his second throw when he's actually juggling in the pattern. He's going to start on your second throw. So here we go. And of course this helps when you walk in the circle. It's really hard to do this one in slow motion, so you just kind of have to go for it and do it. Ready? Good.
1, 2.
Start again. So you're go on time. And it's important to remember, because you're walking in the circle, it's your travel path that's going to make the bodies meet each other. So in one way there's a habit to say, okay, I have to throw this ball to somebody else, and that person's behind me, so there's a habit to say, I'm going to throw the ball back there. But remember that as you're walking in a circle, that person's going to arrive and get the ball. So more or less all your passes, within reason, are kind of straight up and down. Or more straight up and down than saying I'm throwing over to you, because you're actually walking towards me. So keep that in mind as you walk around.
Ready? 1, 2.
Great, cool. So there we have eight objects in this pattern, and of course you can keep adding them and putting them in different permutations and different patterns. And as we walk around the circle, for example, we're all walking the same way. So we have 3 circles, remember, that we're overlapping in a certain pattern. And now all 3 of those circles, everybody's on their path walking in the same way to the left. It's really possible to do the same kind of work where 2 people are walking to the left and 1 person's walking to the right. Or so, for example, let's say I replace you if you sit out for a second, and we just do the walking pattern, the 3 of us. So I go to the front, you go to the front, and you go to the front, and I go to the front. At some point I can go to the back, and then I come back, and I'm in the front, like this. So we can have right hip a long way around, and then I'm back. So we have different travel paths where we can go different directions on our circles. And as well, these circles can expand as many circles as we want. Now there were 3 people we were working with, but we could do the same pattern with 5. Maybe as a last image, we can just see what it looks like with 5 people in one object. Just as an idea to show how this work continues on forward, again, forever, as long as you keep understanding what concept you're working with, where you're going, and what your goal is. Let's see how this goes with 5 people. This is the last image. Okay, so now, instead of having 3 people and 3 circles, we have 5 people. Let's have 5 circles. The same way we do this is same way as before with 3 people. We just make a line of 5 people standing 1 in front of each other. And if you start walking in a circle, but don't change place, so you just have a circle, just go ahead, and you're all in line, then the person who's in the back can cut on the middle and go to the front. Yeah, you got it. So then that just happens every time. So now this is the new walking pattern. And again, whenever there's a crossing or intersection of the paths, we're going to exchange objects. So if you stop and make your line again, then let's just have the ball in the front. We'll just put 1 object in. You could put objects in, again, in every single point in the line. We can have rings on heads, or clubs, or balls. We can have throws or passes. And now, as you come from behind, you're going to take the object. I think it's pretty straightforward. You can go for it. From the outside hand to the inside hand. Cool. And again, this is with a circle. We could use a square or a triangle or any other walking path or shape we wanted to. We can interpret those shapes as different things than walking patterns, but that's what we did today. That's what we got.